Hey guys, it's Chris with Silverleaf Creations Garden. I just want to continue our discussion about being a new gardener and some lessons learned that I've discovered and some things I'm dealing with. Maybe some of you can comment and let me know some questions I have. Other than that, I'm going to just show you some things that I've learned and discovered for myself. Probably the biggest lesson I've learned is don't start your garden until you're ready. I'll show you some plants that I started a while ago, probably 2 months ago now, and it's probably just pretty much just a glorified experiment. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. So these are some seedlings that I started probably mid-March to late March. As you can see, they're not doing too well. Here it's tomorrow's gonna be the 1st of June, so it's been a couple months. And the biggest thing, like I said, don't start until you're ready. As you can see, a lot of these are very leggy. They've been trying to reach for the sun, and they're just not gonna make it. Not only that, but they've been left in these small pots for way too long. You can see in here how the roots have started to grow out. They've outgrown these. Not only the roots, but because the plants themselves are so large. I mean, if you look over here, I got some beans that were growing just in this seedling container, and this, even if I transplanted this plant right now, it would not survive. So pretty much all these are waste. So just a couple things. One, everything started in these the peat moss pods. I forget what the brand name is, but it's pretty much peat pods. These things suck. I mean, I'm never going to use these things again. I want to say the germination rate was about 80%. I mean, you can see there's a lot of them that nothing happened whatsoever. And I want to say within the first few days, I saw mold growing. Followed the directions exactly. Just put enough water to keep them soaked. And then water them again for maybe every 2-3 days. But there was mold growing. So that came with the pods. So I'm just never going to use these again. The tray is great, idea is great, but I'm just not going to use them. So with these over here are actually transplanted from the pods. So these larger pots were good. Just when I started, I didn't have the right seedling lighting system. I started with one of the tote boxes that you put aluminum foil in, and you just put a light in there. And that's how I started, and it was okay. But as you can see, these plants are not healthy at all. They're just leggy, and they're not going to survive even if I did transplant them. This was a squash plant. The blossoms did go, but they just died out. I mean, this thing is not healthy at all. So, and the reason why I didn't transplant, these guys are still unfinished. And I got the soil, got part of the soil, I still got to get some amendments, but these things were not ready to go. So the biggest lesson is don't start until you're ready to go full bore. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned the hard way. So like I said, these things over there was pretty much just a glorified experiment. Something else I've learned is your plants have to have the right type of container and have to have good soil. Here in the tomato plant, I think this is a good size container for this. What is this? It's a Bush Early Girl. You can see there's one tomato that's starting to ripen. But as you can see, I'm having some issues with how healthy they are. I've had a lot of blossom end rot issues in these. Let's see if I can see any right now. This plant has not been healthy. Hopefully I'll get a couple good ones, but basically the soil was not amended right. I mean, I just had a mix of peat moss, cow manure, and some just standard garden soil. I thought it'd be good enough, but it wasn't. So I added some powdered eggshells, And I also did a diluted milk mix just to add some calcium, trying to help it. So we'll see if that helps at all. It's kind of the same thing with the pepper plants over here. Here I got some red and yellow bell peppers, but as you can see, these guys aren't healthy either. So those are soft spots. I'm not sure what's going on with that. If that's kind of the same thing as I'm having with the tomatoes, blossom end rot. I'm not sure if it's the same thing or not. And this jalapeno plant, there was a heavy wind last week that knocked a lot of the leaves off, and they haven't grown back. They even have shown signs of growing back, but the stems are healthy. So I've just been watching it and hoping that it starts growing back. One next to it's doing okay. I mean, it's still a little bare, but the jalapenos are looking okay. So I've already harvested a few jalapenos. Other thing, just like with the other plants, make sure you're ready to start. I mean, these guys needed a cage, just because they get so heavy with all the peppers and such. And also I had some issues with the wind. The wind was knocking these plants over. These plants and the bell peppers, knocking them over. So lesson learned: make sure you have all the equipment you need, and help protect the plants. So these over here were garlic and onions. Couple of things. So I know garlic is normally a fall crop, but I have seen some people being able to grow them in spring, but they might not have been in Arizona. So I'm not sure how these guys are doing. I have pulled a couple up that have been looking dry, and they never really started the flower. Like this one, it's kind of dry. I'm going to pull it up. Yeah, it hadn't even started making a bulb. So I'm not sure what's going on with the green ones. I'm going to let them go. The onions, I can see I have been getting some onions. I mean, they're not going to be overly big just because of the container. But again, lesson learned. These onions came in a bunch that I got from Home Depot, and it was like the last in the box, and it looked kind of dry. But being a new guy, I didn't know any better. Just planted them. So I'm thinking that it was just an old or overly dry bunch. So I wasn't ever going to have a lot of success. I mean, as you can see, it's kind of dry and looking unhealthy. But this container gets water daily, and it does get, I want to say, about 6 hours of sun over here. So I don't know if it's just a lack of sun or if they're not liking the container. Yeah, as you can see, there is some algae or something growing along the inside of it. It's green. I mean, so I am watering this daily, so you're getting plenty of water. So I'm not sure what's going on. And going on with the lessons learned, always make sure you know what is in season, or what to plant. And a lot of these are plants that would not survive the summer, but I just went out and bought seeds, not even thinking about it. So, I mean, the squash is good, and the beans are good, but a couple of these are broccoli, and broccoli would not survive the summer. I just moved these things outside. I just moved them off my grow table, but you can see they're leggy. They're not healthy at all, and they would never sprout. So again, I was just a glorified experiment. That's what you got to do. You got to experiment. Got to see how often to water, what to water, and how your plants are going to react. So that's going to be it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully mainly you guys will learn from my mistakes and don't repeat them. When you start growing, just make sure you're ready. If you're going to be growing more than just a couple plants, make sure you have some beds that are ready for you, with soil and everything and amendments. That way you have healthy crops, you have healthy food for your family. So until next time, this is Chris with Silverleaf Creations Garden. Bye.